Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Little technical difficulties. First time on this new computer, but we're getting it going. Should be a lot more smoother now as well. I'm going to get that shown on my end here in a second. Hope everyone's having a great Monday. We're back from the New Year's and Christmas. I'm going to check this out real quick, make sure we are looking good. Yep, we're looking good. Sounds great, guys. All right. And we have stocks above us, weather below us. Once again, welcome to the Week Ahead News Show, episode 44. It is currently January 5th, 2025. We got me, Liam, my good friend Tommy.
Hello, everybody. Good to be back. Episode 44. What a hell of a new year for the news. Just wake up and then boom. I guess I'm just grateful I'm not Nicolas Maduro. So there we go.
Drew out here getting caught. Um, we'll talk about that here in a
I,
little
s- I
bit.
made it through the night in my bed, in my own bed. I made it through the night.
Didn't get captured. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell if you haven't for notifications. Our Facebook is also in the description, and you can follow us on there. That would be great. Looking at stuff, it's a lot smoother, so that's great to see. I'll go right into the weather. We have weather below us as well. Refresh that just in case temperatures went down a little bit. They did, 3 degrees, wow. So today we had a high of 36, a low of 23, getting some snow melt, partly cloudy. Tomorrow we're going to get rain. High of 44, low of 31. So that's really going to help with the snow melt. That warm rain is going to melt all that snow away. However, Wednesday we're going to have sleet. High of 39, low of 30. Thursday, rain, 37, 30. Friday, rain, 48, 41. Saturday, rain, 41, 26. Sunday, partly cloudy, maybe a little bit of snow, 28, 21, getting a little bit colder. And I'll be going on to, what does next Monday look like? Next Monday is going to be sunny, high of 40, low of 24. Our first light right now is at 7:15 a.m. Sunrise was at 7:48 today. Sunset was at 5:08 today. Last light at 5:39, giving them 9 hours and 20 minutes, a total daylight. Right now for the moon, we are at waxing gibbous at 91% illumination. We had a full moon about 4 days ago. Next moon set at 10:07 a.m. Next full moon, 27 days. Had no rain. We're about zero point 0.1 inches tomorrow, a tenth of an inch. Tommy will be going over stocks here.
Oh, sorry. I got distracted. I'm on Nike.com. I'm looking at all these tech fleeces. Man, this gray one right now, $140. $140 actually. Uh,
That's crazy. The
just
price
the
is
gray
going up.
one is
Dynamic prices. A lot of
j- j-
demand.
just the gray one. The other colors, the non-gray, are actually on sale right now. But if you want the gray one, you got to pay to play full price.
You're kidding, right? Ain't no way. I like for light
I'm dead
blue.
serious.
That's funny, bro. Nike's funny with that one. I like
You
for
got to
light
pay to
blue
play
tech
the
fleece. How much is that?
light blue. That $101. So you save four.
Like I was telling Tommy last year, these were 70, $80. I should have bought them then. But tariffs definitely made these prices increase because they're nice jackets. I don't like polyester too much. But for a jacket, I actually don't care because it's not like you're feeling the polyester. So, and it all depends on kind of the stuff you use. So,
Give me a minute.
yeah.
I got to open up another Chrome tab. I got to look up those like goggles and the earmuffs too.
Do you know what
Uh,
people said he looked like, Tommy?
what?
Doctor Disrespect.
Dr. Disrespect. That is true. That is true. Actually, I sent you something on Instagram. Who did it better, Nicholas Maduro or Dr. Disrespect?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody's going to put it together for a Halloween costume. They're going to go down to Sam's Club. They're going to get a 24 pack of water. They're just going to carry that around. Um, be good.
I get
Anyway,
it. Yeah.
anyway, anyway. I think I would look good in one of these fleeces. So maybe I'll buy one. Okay. So, stocks. So over the last 5 days, Dow down 330 points, about a half a percent. S&P down about 77 points, a little over 1%. Nasdaq's down 410 points, a little under 2%, 1.74.
All right. Interesting. Today we kind of had some greens today. The Dow was up 1.2%. Nasdaq was up 0.69%. Nice. Russell 200 was up 1.6%. S&P up 0.64%. So
Nike,
all that future oil investment in
yeah,
Venezuela paying off. Maybe them stocks are thinking about it. there's already talks about that. How like I guess somehow like the oil industry is kind of like destroyed, and we need private industry to go in. Dick Cheney would be really happy right now. All I'll say about that.
Yeah. Nike's up. They're up 1.25 points,
Making all that money
2%.
from the $140 Nike fleece grays, I guess.
Yeah.
Very interesting to see. Very interesting to see. All right. We'll go into a funny topic, kick it off. We kind of already talked about the Kennedy Center a little bit, but now it's facing artist cancellations, drop in ticket sales after Trump's name added. We probably should see this because I don't mean to be that guy. I go to a lot. I go to like the orchestra a lot. You know what I mean? I don't know if Trump supporters are always for ones going to these type of events, so that kind of shows how smart he is as well. The background, like we talked about before, renaming and leadership change. The venue formerly known as the John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts was renamed to include President Donald Trump's name by a board largely appointed by Trump. This this renaming follows a broader takeover of institution's leadership early in 2025 from Trump. Artist cancellations and backlash, multiple performances were dropped. Several performers and groups have canceled scheduled shows at Kennedy Center in protest of a name change and politification of the institution. Notable cancellations include a Christmas Eve jazz concert by veteran musician Chuck Reed. That's actually really cool to see. A New Year's Eve performance jazz ensemble by the Cookers. And other artists and groups have pulled out of future bookings. Reasons for withdrawals are some artists have explicitly cited the renaming and political controversy as motivations for pulling out and distracting themselves. Critics argue the institution is no longer a neutral cultural space for artistic expression. Ticket sales and audience concerns. Decline in ticket sales. The center has experienced declining ticket sales and audience entrance in the wake of leadership change and renaming. A PBS report highlights a drop in overall ticket demand compared to past years, contributing to concerns about the institution's financial health and audience engagement. Leadership puts back Richard Grenell, the Trump-appointed president of the Kennedy Center, has defended the changes and dismissed the cancellations as politically motivated rather than artistic decisions. A little bit of both, and that's kind of how it works. In some cases, example Chuck Reed's cancellation of the center has responded with threats of legal or financial action, which is crazy, and this shows how it is. And there's a lot of cultural and political impact in here because it kind of shows how like we do need these cultural institutions. Shouldn't really be politicized, especially if it was supposed to be remembered as a memorial for JFK. So, how do you feel about this, Tommy?
Listen, I don't think what's crazy about this story is that the whole premise, the origination of this story, the name change when they added Donald J. Trump and John F. Washington Performing Arts Center. What I can't get over is that was illegal. So the name of this institution, the name of the building was set by federal law. A bunch of hand-picked Donald Trump appointees, and by the way, he heads this board now because he's an ego narcissist who has to control everything. That board has no authority to override a federal law. Like why doesn't Champion Township, why don't they go tell the federal government that we don't want to pay tariffs anymore in Champion Township? Like, see how that goes. Like, it's just completely devoid of legal logic. But besides all that, um good on the artists, for actually saying, we don't want to participate in something like this. We don't want to participate in the politicization of a literal living memorial to a guy who was assassinated. Like, you know,
Yeah, agreed.
it's just crazy. Like, you know, it's just ridiculous. So good on the artists. I'm happy that there's a decline in ticket sales. I'm happy that the artists, have the balls to say, I'm not going to perform in this. That's a lot more balls than Congress has right now. I'll give them that. So, yeah, just crazy. What he did with renaming it, and just, um, I'm happy that individual artists are taking a stand against it. It truly is ridiculous.
Agreed.
What about you? What do you think?
But everything you said, like it's kind of like part of their protest, part of their autistic expression. And he said, it's not an autistic decision. It is. We've seen this a lot
Yeah.
in times back in history. So during Vietnam Wars, stuff like that. If you don't like a president and he's putting his name on a building, you don't got to perform there if you don't want to. He can't force you to do anything. This is America. We do got free will. So I love seeing that. And more power to him. More power to the people for making their choice too, for not going there with the name change. You know what I mean? You could boycott, put your money where your mouth is, and really show them what's up. So Tommy will be going into our national topic 1, which is our big topic we've been joking around a little bit about. This Venezuela war. That's probably not going to be a war, but what happened there, the capture, and some stuff we're doing there.
Certainly, yeah. So, January 3rd, U.S. military forces conducted a surprise operation in Venezuela targeting President Nicolas Maduro and First Lady Cecilia Flores. Maduro and Flores were captured during the mission and transported out of Venezuela and flown to the country, flown to the United States. According to official statements, the operation was part of an ongoing effort that included months of pressure and planning by the Trump administration. So let me stop there before we continue. So before we get into the actual politics and the actual international implications of this operation, first I just want to better lay out exactly what happened. Because if we take everything out of it, all the politics, all that, how awful this all is, if we look at just the pure strategic planning itself, the operation itself was actually very well planned. It's something that the United States really, I think, uniquely could have conducted. Essentially, we neutralized the Venezuelan air defense, and we got their dictator out of there in under 4 hours. So again, I don't agree with this operation. This is definitely bad that's going on. But the operation itself, what was impressive. President Donald Trump publicly announced the United States would temporarily take charge of governing Venezuela following Maduro's capture, which is insane. Trump said U.S. involvement would continue. A safe and proper political transition could be arranged, a remark interpreted as planning for extended control. He specifically mentioned that the U.S. would utilize Venezuela oil resources and potentially allow major American oil companies to rebuild and operate there. So we went into Venezuela, and in under 4 hours, we destroyed their air defense. We took their leader out. We didn't lose any casualties. We suffered no casualties. So what's next? And this is something that I don't know, and it's not because I'm unprepared for this show. It's because nobody knows what is next. So you have some people saying, that the US is just going to exert control over Venezuela through basically economic coercion through a essentially a blockade, and that's how the US would exert control over Venezuela. So you have some people saying that that's what the U.S. is going to do. And these are U.S. officials that are saying it. But then you have Donald Trump that says, I'm literally in charge of Venezuela. So what is the roadmap for U.S. involvement going forward in Venezuelan government? That's just unknown because our leaders are idiots. Okay, like you think that'd be something you'd want to figure out, or at least have your talking points up, straight before you talk about that. But anyway, so also today, this is in the docket, but today Donald Trump laid threats at Colombia. He laid threats at Mexico. He laid threats at Greenland again. Saying we need Greenland, and Colombia and Mexico got to get their act together. So our president is acting like a crazy like crazy dictator almost. So Maduro and Flores were indicted in the United States on criminal charges, including narco terrorism, drug trafficking, conspiracy, in federal cases dating back to 2020. Trump and U.S. officials characterized the operation as a way to enforce these charges and uphold U.S. law, though legal experts strongly dispute the justification for military force under international law without consent or UN authorization. The operation marks one of the most assertive U.S. actions aimed at changing a foreign government since the 1989 capture of Panama's leader, Noriega. So Venezuela's Supreme Court and Supreme Court, um, and their vice president declared uh, the Supreme Court declared the vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, declared her as the interim president until the Venezuelan constitution, under the Venezuela constitution, and she rejected claims that the U.S. controlled the country. The vice president called Maduro the legitimate president and demanded proof of life for him, which that actually did happen today. You know, he was in court today, said that he was not guilty on all these charges. The operation drew international criticisms from government and organizations concerned about sovereignty and violations of international norms, while some calling for emergency discussion at the United Nations, which did occur today, where the French and some of our allies even did talk negatively about the action.
I saw that, yeah.
Some nations, including Russia, Cuba, and Iran, strongly condemned the action as U.S. aggressions, while others were more muted or supportive. Trump emphasized the U.S. plans were to tap into Venezuela's vast oil reserve, which is crazy. He's just saying it. He's just like, so they're just talking openly about the
Bush
oil. They're
Light
just
over
saying,
here.
we're they're just talking openly about it. Like, oh, we're just gonna, use our navy, and we're gonna use our navy to exert economic coercion over the Venezuelan oil industry. We're talking about that. We're talking about securing coercive U.S. investments for the Venezuelan oil industry. We're just talking about just flat out controlling the whole country. So Donald Trump's just saying the quiet part out loud. U.S. plans to tap into Venezuela's vast oil reserves and rebuild its oil infrastructure. I'm sure they're going to skim some off the top too, which had deteriorated under Maduro's government. Analysis note that Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserve. Its production is a fraction of past output, and foreign companies have faced challenges operating there. So, uncertainties, so extent of control. It's still unclear how the U.S. intends to administer or not administer Venezuela, whether through direct government, proxy leadership, or through coercion.
Mm-hmm.
Legal experts strongly disagree on the legality of operation under international law, especially given the dual claims of law enforcement and intended political control. And future government, it's sort of unknown what sort of government will take play. We have this new vice president that's assuming the role of acting president, but there's still a lot of different power centers in the country. There could still be a military coup, for instance. There's still a lot of unknown in the future. So, wow. So I think the first, let me say this. So don't make the mistake of thinking Nicolas Maduro is a good man. Okay, that's the first thing to say. Nicolas Maduro is a bad guy. Now, should the U.S. have forcibly taken him out of power? I would say no. But make no mistake. Nicolas Maduro lost his last election. He only got about 30% of the vote in his last election, but he stayed in power. He truly is an illegitimate leader, but he is nonetheless the de facto leader of Venezuela. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so with that out of the way, this is truly, I think, terrifying for a variety of reasons, because I think this sets up a new world where might makes right, where each part of the world is controlled um by a regional hegemon that will exert its control over other countries. And I think it just broadly sparks another move away from this rules-based international order that I've been talking about so much. And we're even starting to see Donald Trump um talk about that. Um, so, but before Donald Trump. The world largely operated under a system of international law that guided what each country can and cannot do. And part of that international system is two core principles. It's that disputes should be resolved diplomatically where possible. That's number one. That's a core principle. And the other core principle is that states have sovereignty and have the right to conduct their own affairs free of foreign interference. Um, unless there's some sort of formal declaration of war that you're trying to avoid, also. But um, so that started to come undone in largely, I would say, with Russia's actions in Ukraine, with Crimea, with its formal military invasion of Ukraine. That was one of the things that started to take away from this rules-based order. There have been other things, many things the U.S. has done. The war in Iraq, another situation where we should not have got involved. Again, Saddam was not a good guy, obviously. You don't have to say that, but we shouldn't have got involved in Iraq. That was another sort of pullback from this rules-based order. But certainly more recently, the war in Ukraine, um, and now most recently this. And what is so terrifying about this is not necessarily the operation itself. Actually, the operation itself went well. Like I said, it was under 4 hours. Uh, Captured the guy, whatever. But what's scary about this is China is going to be looking over from the Pacific, and they're going to say, the United States of America is talking about that North America and South America is their hemisphere. And then they just went in to a sovereign country and kidnapped their dictator and took their dictator. So they're going to be looking at Asia, and they're going to be looking at Taiwan, and they're going to be say, over here across the Pacific Ocean, we're the regional hegemon here, not the United States of America. And by the way, China, they view Taiwan as an internal matter. They view it as if like Ohio rebelled against, the United States. That's how they view Taiwan. You know, that's not I think that the Chinese government's delusional when it comes to that. But that is their position nonetheless. Okay? And that position, you know, is strength, that position only is strengthened by the fact that the U.S. is taking adverse action against a foreign government in Venezuela. They're just gonna simply say, this is our hemisphere. We want to invade Taiwan. We want to do this. This is our hemisphere. And by the way, United States of America, you did the same thing. And actually, they don't even view it as the same thing again because they view Taiwan as an internal problem. So we have Vladimir Putin in Europe who is saying might makes right. Okay? We have Donald Trump in Washington saying might makes right. Why is anybody else going to not go by that logic anymore? What sort of implications does that lead to going forward for this world? The rules-based international order was not perfect. Again, the war in Iraq, various conflicts around the world, but it did produce a period of relative peace from the end of the Second World War until about now, and we're leaving that era. And I'm not going to say, that World War III is going to, start tomorrow. A lot of people on the internet will want to make money on saying that World War III is going to start tomorrow. It's not going to start tomorrow. But what I am saying is we are entering in an unknown, and we're entering into an era of unknowns. And it seems like we're entering in an era where rights and fundamental rules of international law don't matter. What matters is who has the biggest army. And that's a world that is fundamentally scary, unstable, and rife for conflict. When you're talking about hemispheres, with you have the U.S. being the American power, then you have China being the Asian power, and you have probably Germany would be the European power. That's inherently a world that is more dangerous because you have more friction points. You have more friction points. You have more people involved, more hands in the kitchen, and then you accompany that with might makes right.
And
You know,
egos, yeah, for
in
sure.
egos and insecure men acting like they're not insecure. Like what's gonna happen. So, um, truly is a scary time for just international stability and the rule of law. And the bigger story of this might
Hmm.
not be what I'm talking about today. It might be what's going to happen 2 years from now because of this. So
Yeah.
I don't know what do you have to say, Liam?
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with a lot of what you're saying about rule of law and that he is a bad guy. He needed taken out, but maybe like other ways. And it's kind of funny because I saw Zelensky make a joke about it, how you could take dictators away. Can't do that with Russia though, and us doing that to Russia would be different. It'd be way bigger scale and could result in a bigger war. But it'd be definitely interesting to see what happens long term. And I definitely think that there's oil. If he's talking about it, I mean, maybe it's just an investment thing, but they're gonna make their money off of it. So he's
Oh
Bush
yeah.
2.0. It's the Middle East again. Like I said, I told Tommy
Yeah.
before, so Dick Cheney would be happy right now. He'd be rolling in his grave. So out of happiness, What I mean, he would be loved to be in there with Trump and telling him what to do because he got that experience. So it's just crazy to me. You know what I mean? It's um,
What's crazy is they're just saying that. They're just like, yeah, it's the oil.
they don't care anymore.
you know,
They're like,
and
we'll
George
go to
Bush was
war.
an idiot. But he didn't say it's the oil. Donald Trump just saying it's the oil.
And just like for Middle East, you're gonna tell me that every group in Venezuela is just fine with you. You're gonna have to have soldiers patrolling these fields. You have to protect them. You know what I mean? Then they're gonna get attacked, and then it's sad. I don't want to be put in this cycle again, war wise. Um, in
Right.
parentheses, you know what I mean? But we'll have to see what
Which it very
happens.
well could go down that path. Nobody knows.
Yeah,
you know, um,
because I mean, they,
it's
they love blaming it on fentanyl, but most of our fentanyl, over 80%, comes from China. And I don't see
yeah.
them trying to stop all the container ships and say, "Hey guys, are you okay with your stuff from China taking 2 more days to come in the mail?" Nah, everything's just a distraction to me. So on that at least.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I think it's. Then you were saying earlier, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. You were saying this could be a distraction from Epstein. Like,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know, uh, I think this is a real news story, but do I think Donald Trump is happy that they're not talking about Jeffrey Epstein right now? Absolutely, I think he's happy about
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, and like we'll talk about
So
too, like the Minnesota stuff of all this BS fraud. Like I feel like that's like just dumb distractions. Like you see it a lot online and a lot with like just you know Alex Jones freaking out about every little thing. So it's just dumb to me.
yeah,
Um, But I'm ready to go on a national topic too. We knew that one was going to be a little bit longer just from all the info on it. This one should be a little bit quicker.
yeah.
It's about Zoran
This is a
Mandami's
positive one.
inauguration. Sorry, Tommy, what are you going to say though?
This is a positive one.
This is a positive one. Zoran Mandami's inauguration in New York City. Historic. He was sworn in on January 1st. Zoran Kwame Mandami officially became the mayor of New York City just after midnight, shortly after the New Year celebrations. I saw it online. First swearing-in ceremony was held in a decommissioned subway station beneath City Hall, a symbolic location, reflecting his focus on public transit and the everyday lives of New Yorkers. I also saw that he was on the train the next day, too, as well, with his Casio on. Mandami is the first Muslim mayor of New York City and the first South Asian mayor, one of the youngest ever to be hold of the office of age 34. He was sworn in using a Quran, including copies owned by his grandfather and another historic text, marking a first for the city's mayoral oath. The ceremony details, administered by the New York State Attorney General Letitia James, who Trump loves, at the midnight ceremony. Great to see. He was probably so mad when he saw that on Fox News. A larger public inauguration took place later in the day, officiated by U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders, with speeches and performance featuring prominent figures and artists. Congresswoman AOC and other progressive leaders also participated, underscoring Mandami's base and coalition. It's great to see. His inaugural vision and policies. Mandami, a Democratic Socialist and former state assemblyman, promised bold, ambitious governance focusing on affordability, public transit, and social infrastructure. His platform includes proposals such as free childcare, free bus service, rent freezes for millions of residents, and a city-run grocery stores to tackle the high cost of living, which is awesome to see. And a lot of this stuff is because of greedy people, so a lot of times you gotta take, the private side out of it. In his inaugural remarks, he vowed to govern expansively and audaciously, using government power to improve the lives of working-class New Yorkers and restore trust in democracy. Madami's candidacy shook up New York politics, defeating established figures and winning a message centered on affordability and equity. Um, he, his raise reflects broader interest in progressive grassroots leaderships in major U.S. cities. Some challenges ahead, real quick, despite enthusiasm and broad support as inauguration. Madami faces significant challenges, including budget shortfalls, high living costs, housing issues, and the need to work with state legislator and governor to implement his agenda. Personally, I'm really really excited to see how this goes. A lot of times we see, people say progressives, democratic socialists don't work out, but we do see it work out. And I remember, I think me and Tommy were talking about a couple days ago how sometimes older people I think it was the editor for Tribune. He was saying, is I don't believe in democratic socialists. That's just not a thing. Has he never been to Europe? It just blows my mind. You know what I mean? How someone could just be so stuck in Ohio, literally, mentally too. Because we could have, it could be different. What's really interesting is, to me, New York is basically, it was built by the Dutch. It's kind of like New Amsterdam, basically. Right on the water, progressive, very busy. Why didn't the politics follow them too? You know what I mean? They are more progressive. All these places in Europe, and it works out well for them. So I'm excited to see how it works out for them in New York. I think Madami's a good guy. Like I said, he wears a Casio. That's really cool to see. Still takes a chain to
European
work.
exclusive Casio, full metal.
Yep. Sweet one too. How to get that boy? What do you think, Tommy? We'll make this one a little quicker.
I think I want that watch. So
Wait, I'll do.
Listen, I'm just happy. I'm just happy for Mandami. So listen, I think Mr. Mandami, or excuse me, I should say Mayor Mandami. I think he represents an interesting idea in American politics, which is that we should actually be in the business of providing services to people and reducing costs and making things more affordable for them. And to me, that's what Mayor Mandami represents. And you know, I think he offers a lot of new innovative ideas, that if implemented, would make the lives better for the people of New York. So I wish him all the best. And I think one thing that is great about our system is, the states are the laboratory of democracies, are the laboratories of our democracies. New York City is obviously not a state, but it's got the population of a lot of states. So
Yep.
if Mr. Mandami is able to implement a successful strategy in New York City, our legislators with proper backing in Congress, could build on that nationally. And of course, the 10 plus million people that live in New York City, will more directly benefit from Mayor Mondami's administration now if he's able to implement his policy. So overall, I think it's a great thing. I'm a big fan of Zoran Mondami. And I think, his idea of democratic socialism, certainly has been proven to work in Nordic countries, and regardless of what the Tribune says,
And it's funny
that's
because,
just
Tom, too, it's different in Cleveland or Youngstown, where people leave. You don't have a big population in city. There's a lot of people that live in the city of New York. They have a lot of money. So you could do good. You could try different policies, and they could work out if they have proper funding. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready?
I wish him all. Yep, I'm ready to go. So, feel free to jump in on this one, Liam, anytime. This is
Make sure you guys drop a like if you're enjoying the content too. So, going into a local topic 1.
So this is local topic 1/10 because really this is kind of like 10 talk. So
quick recap.
2025 recap. So we'll just kind of blitz through these, and if we want to if you have anything to say about a specific topic, just butt in. So number 10, 2025 recap. Cortland mayor recall election. So last year, recall efforts, began to recall Cortland mayor. The Cortland mayor, triggered by residents' dissatisfaction over the city government's controversial appointments and her conduct at council meetings. Missing Money Martha, only number 9. I'd have put this one higher. I love Missing Money Martha. Okay. Township funds stolen cyber scam. Bezetta Township lost over $160,000 to scammers who hacked fiscal officer's email and diverted tax payments. Court ruled that the county auditor, Missing Money Martha, must repay $80,000 plus interest, which she paid back on the last day allowable by the court order. um,
That's funny.
Medal of Honor award for local veteran. Girard Army veteran Ken David received the Medal of Honor, the nation's highest military decoration. More than 50 years after historic actions in Vietnam, President Joe Biden gave him the medal.
Heck
So
yeah.
I'm happy for him for that. He doesn't have to, have the medal pin on him by a con man.
And there's so many
Also,
there's so many ties to this, Tommy, real quick. Because my dad's friend Herm helped push that FAVA for him to get it. He got to go to the White House with him.
yeah,
We're going to be at Indy with him this year. And then Ken David's son was one of the founding mentors for my robotics team and here in
very cool.
Girard. He actually, I think, passed away, I think, my sophomore or junior year. And we helped out his wife and all this stuff. It was real nice. So crazy how, like, everything's tied in sometimes. But keep going.
Yeah. I was reading up on what Mr. David did in Vietnam, and I guess he was sort of like, it sounded like there was this field and that there was these helicopters, and the helicopters were landing to try to receive like um to put wounded on the helicopters, and the North Vietnamese army were shooting at the helicopters. This guy, he literally got out of like his trench and said, "Over here!" Like, and like diverted fire from the helicopters, like he was yelling and taunting the enemy and shooting. So it was very courageous act. So I just thought that was worth mentioning.
That's
Um,
crazy, yeah.
Major road project completed early. Divergent Diamond interchange at 46 and 82 in Hounds finished 6 months early. Great. I actually like the Divergent Diamond. I think it's nice. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I like that.
Um,
I heard some people had problems getting off 82 to get on 46. Um, that's also sometimes in traffic we talked about, like when it started. That's kind of just like they kind of like use slower phasing times is what it's called, instead of being quicker, just because they want people to get used to it, and then they make it quicker so then people are used to it.
yeah.
If you start off something quick, brand new, it kind of crashes a lot. So hopefully that's better. Being 6 months ahead of schedule is crazy. So that's great. We don't really see that around here. So
Okay. Yeah. So that's another good one. I think it's a good project. Federal judge limits Ursuline lawsuit commentary. So U.S. District Judge Benita Pearson, federal judge, ordered both sides in multiple Ursuline lawsuits to refrain from public commentary. And of course, these lawsuits include allegations from sexual assault, hazing, bullying, all sorts of things.
mm-hmm.
So, and we've covered extensively on this show. So that was certainly one of the bigger things. Um, the federal judge issuing the order to limit commentary. That's interesting. I won't go into that right now, but it is interesting. Um, uh, Liberty House explosion tragedy, a Liberty home explosion on June 7th, linked to illegal fireworks and ammunition manufacturing, killed a father and later a 4-year-old child, with another victim critically injured. So, tragedy out of Liberty from earlier in the year. Another tragedy in Howland. 6 people died June 29th after a plane crash. A small plane crashed shortly after takeoff from Youngstown Warren Airport en route to Montana. The NTSB reported engine issues before the crash. And later a civil lawsuit was filed by the victim's estate. Number 3, a Vienna Township official sentenced for theft. Former Vienna Township official Linda McCullough was sentenced to 8 years in prison for stealing more than $120,000 from township funds. She must pay restitution and has appealed her conviction, which is why she's not making payments right now. The township has gotten some money, mainly from the the state pension she was paying into, but other than that, um, they're not getting their money
That like
just yet.
that they're like forcing money out of. She's not giving them that money. They're taking it out of her pension before she gets paid.
Right,
Like
yeah. Like, so
forcing
that's
her
like
to,
she
yeah.
hasn't actually given over any yet because she's appealing. Um, yeah, so that was another crazy thing. Like she was just paying her credit cards off, like with so that was a crazy story. I'm glad, she got what's coming to her. If not, she should have got more time in prison. Um, she shut down their fire department, like, she, her theft impacted that whole community. It was disgusting
Yeah,
what she did.
120,000 is a
Uh,
lot.
yeah, and they just shut down a fire department. Like, like people died because of this. Theft in office is obviously a very, very, very big deal. Demolition of Levittsburg Dam. Here we are again, talking about the dam again. Okay, I'm gonna skip this one. The dam's gone. Okay. Trumbull County budget challenges. um, Trumbull County budget challenges. County commissioners faced a lean 2026 general. Uh, County commissioners faced a lean general budget last year, and they're gonna be facing it this year. And they spent much of the year, asking department heads to make cuts and etc. And that will continue again into this year. So that was sort of a recap of all of the big news stories. I agree with sort of the top 10 list. I probably would have ordered things a little differently, but I think this top 10 sort of covers all the big local news stories of last year. I think for me, the big ones, um, obviously the taxpayer money being sent over from the auditor that was a crazy one last year. I think that disqualifies Martha Yoder from holding that public office in itself. So that was a crazy story. All the Ursuline stuff that was crazy. Um, that was absolutely crazy. What was going on in Vienna? With the theft in office, the fact that it literally killed people because they had to shut down their fire department. That was crazy. So for me, that was the biggest story. Those were the three biggest stories. So
That's a
what
great
what, what do you
recap.
think,
Thank you,
Liam?
Tommy. Yeah, I think I gave most of my input on these. Nothing too crazy,
Yeah.
but budget challenges will be interesting, especially like less help from the feds. Like seeing the dam go, maybe get more paddling going. So, like I kind of said, that theft is always crazy. Missing money
Big
in
paddler.
Vienna, so good year to steal, I guess.
Good year to steal.
When the Republicans in power. We'll go into a local
Yeah.
topic too. Make sure you drop a like if you're enjoying the content. Always gotta say that. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Ring that bell for notifications when we're going live. We have our show here Mondays, and we also have our sports show on Thursdays at 8:30. We're gonna bring back the Healthy Living show. I'll talk with Trevor about that. He's on his nursing schedule now. He wasn't for the last year. But typical like on off like weird days nursing. But now he's on them weird nursing schedules, so that'd be fun. Local topic 2, Warren welcomes new city council. We've also seen this in like Lordstown, Gerard, everywhere else, kind of like a lot of places coming in. But for Warren, the swearing in ceremony was held Monday evening at Warren City Council chambers, marking the beginning of a new council term. The event featured city and county officials, family members, and residents in attendance. Council composition, newcomers and returning members. New council members, Michael Strodick, Democrat of 5th Ward, won his seat in the November election and took oath of office. Tina Milner, Democrat 2nd Ward, sworn in after running unopposed. Greg Thum, Democratic at-large, also took oath as an at-large council member. Returning and unopposed members are John Brown, council president, sworn in for another term. Greg Greathouse, Democrat 3rd Ward, ran unopposed. James Safer, Democrat 4th Ward. Greathouse was 3rd Ward, I believe I said that though. Also ran unopposed. Hanya Price, Democrat 6th Ward, unopposed. Ron Wright, Democrat 7th Ward. Don Johnson, Independent 1st Ward, and long-term serving at-large members Michael O'Brien and Helen Rucker continued on council. Recognition of ongoing members, outgoing council members Greg Steinbach, Andrew Herman, and Tiffany Stanford were thanked for their service during the ceremony. Council members and officials acknowledged their contributions to the city. Remarks and priorities, Michael Strodick expressed enthusiasm for addressing local issues such as sewer problems, street repairs, blight, and streetlights improvement. Tina Miller said she plans to continue work started by a predecessor and focuses on community engagement through monthly ward meetings. Greg Thum highlighted the importance of housing development, to support incoming industries and attract residents. The overall significance the new and continuing council members reflect both continuity and change in Warren's local leadership following the 2025 elections. With a mix of experienced incumbents and fresh voices, the council is positioned to work long-standing community projects and emerging challenges in the city, which is good to see. And I kind of agree with that. Whenever you have a lot of guys, sometimes you need fresh voices, but you also need your experience in there, and we're seeing a lot of that too, which is good to see. Should be good for the city of Warren as well. And we've seen, the city, their schools have their improvements in that huge center they built. So really, they just got, like they're kind of talking about, focus a little bit more on roads, sewer, and sanitary improvements, and that'd be perfect. What do you think, Tommy?
Yeah, they have a lot of great public servants in Warren. I have a lot of respect for all of our Democrats on Warren City Council, but Michael O'Brien, anything Michael O'Brien's involved in is going to be well run. It is going to be a good policy, a good democratic policy that will help people. Greg Greathouse, true public servant. Nia Price, great public servant. Michael Schrodick, I'm very happy for Michael Schrodick. Ran in a hard state senate race, and then came back to serve his constituents in Warren. Mike shows up, and Mike is a true Democrat who wants to help people. So, I'm very optimistic about the future council in Warren, and I think they have a good team that's going to be effective towards solving, admittedly, Warren's problems. So,
Agreed. Good to see, and it's nice to see a lot of Democrats in there. We'll always see that in a lot of times these cities, but we're going to see people that have experience coming too, and some fresh faces that want good change. So, that's really it for me on that one. Any other input for any of our topics tonight, Tommy?
No, I mean that's pretty much it. I guess if I'm going to say one more thing, I just think it's disgusting what they're doing to Governor Tim Walz. I think Governor Tim Walz, he's a good man. He implemented policies that improved lives for people in Minnesota. Put feminine hygiene products in bathrooms for women. Free school lunches, paid family leave. And the right just trying to ruin this man's life. On this racist BS that they've tried everything to try to destroy Tim Walz, and I just wanted to say it's ridiculous. Governor Walz, I think is a great man who just wanted to serve his constituents, wanted to serve the people of Minnesota, regardless if they're, white, black, Somali, straight, gay, men, woman, that's what he wanted to do. And the right, they couldn't, take that. They called him Tampon Tim because God forbid, women have fundamental rights. It's disgusting, so I just wanted to call that out. And I really hope, I really hope Tim Walz is just, biding his time, and maybe he'll have the last laugh. Maybe he'll be President Walz. He won't be Governor Walz. Maybe he's gonna shove some tampons up people's asses. Really piss them off. Like he might have the last laugh. Who knows? Some of them might even like.
We're YouTubers, Tommy, and it's like if we say we found something out and it blew up and it was a lie, like we would own up on that, we would realize that, like, it's crazy. Like, there's a lot of guys on here that are very disingenuous. We've seen that for a tale as old as time, from Alex Jones to a lot of other people online. So it's interesting, you know what I mean? That people put so much words onto like one YouTube video, which just blows my mind. It really does. It's kind of scary. Like I tell people, like, you don't want random YouTubers showing up to daycares anyway. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, if you have a problem, call the state, have them investigate it. You know what I mean? Blows my freaking mind. Everyone running it. You know what I mean? It's crazy to me. Like, there's some things that, another good example. If I'm out on a construction site and a YouTuber shows up and says, "Hey, I'm gonna start moving shit," I'm gonna tell him no. And if I see him start moving shit, I'm gonna call the cops and they're gonna take him away. Because there's certain things that, like, you can't do. And, like, I was laughing because someone online was like, this happens all the time. Parents come in and look around. I'm like, you're talking about a tour. That's different from like a YouTuber who doesn't have kids. He's just walking around with a YouTube video like that. That's scary to me. Like these are the people who say like, "Oh, we gotta protect the children," but like, would you want a YouTuber showing up to your kid's daycare? Like, no, that's kind of weird. So like, there's so much to it that's just dumb to me. The state looked into it and said they're good, so I don't. It's dumb. You know what I mean?
It is dumb.
It's crazy. It's sad.
Don't believe the right wing grifters online, people. They
Yeah.
they're gonna give you the grift, and then they're gonna want your credit card for their Substack. That's the game plan with these people.
Yeah.
It's
And not even
and then they'll run
Substack.
for Congress.
It's like get my, you know what I mean? Get my dick pills. Get my, you
Yeah,
know,
that is true.
everything but COVID pills. Like it's just crazy. Like it's dumb. You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
sell merch. It's sad, and
and
I
they'll
get it,
be
but
selling tickets to Ram Ranch. They'll sell any. Like
they will.
it's crazy.
They're big grifters. So yeah, be careful about that. And I feel like that's just one of those things that like, and like going back real quick before you like get off for the night, the tampon Tim stuff's so dumb to me because like they even push
Yeah,
like I feel we talked about this before too, that if he put them in men's bathrooms, I don't even care. Like a
I don't give a
put the
shit.
transgender thing away for a second and like not all the time. Let's say like it's a bathroom that's just one toilet. Like if I know as a man, if I gotta take a crap and the male bathrooms stop, someone's in there and I want to crap my pants, I'm going to a female bathroom if it's open. I don't care. Like it's not like I'm gonna get tackled by police. There's like a force-free field. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna go and do my
Yeah.
business and come out. Same thing happened to women. If a woman goes to a bathroom at a truck stop at a public place and there's only one bathroom, and then the woman's bathroom's preoccupied and she's having a menstrual problem or about to have a period, I would be fine with her going to the male bathroom. And if we need to stock stuff in there so that like that one time it happens, I don't care. Like it's dumb to me. Like they're saying like they help people. This is so good. They talk about helping people, but when they see people helping people, they get so mad about it. In reality, like you see this a lot of times, like um, bad people envy the good in a good person. So like
Yeah.
that's all it is. They're mad that Trump hasn't helped them one bit, let alone getting toilet paper or feminine hygiene for their products for their kids. So it's just dumb. It's dumb.
You know,
But what
all Tim Walz wants to do is just help people raise minimum wage and hunt ducks. Like just let Tim help people.
yeah.
Like
And that's their problem too. I
whatever.
think they know that like he's a good moderate to like bridge the middle, because of his
Yeah.
conservative values too that he has. So it's sad, but we'll talk about it later. That's it for me, guys. We're about
Yeah.
an hour. I'm happy we made it to an hour tonight. Not too long, not too short. So pretty good episode with all this Maduro stuff and Venezuela crap happening. So appreciate everyone stopping in tonight. Make sure you drop a like if you haven't already. It really helps us out on the algorithm. Same with following us on our Facebook, which is in our description. Liking our posts on there, sharing it so your friends could see it and start watching. That would be great. We'll be here next week, next Monday on the 12th. And then we'll also be here Thursday for the Northeast Ohio Sports Show. Thank you guys so much for coming to the Week Ahead News Show. That's it for me, Liam. Good night, Youngstown.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, and thank you again, Tommy. Tommy's goat co-host. I appreciate all the hard work he does. So
I'm gonna drop my PayPal in there for that tech fleece if anyone wants to buy me
if you
one.
want to buy Tommy a tech fleece in the comments, much appreciated. Have a good night, everybody. Everyone's having a good week back from all these holidays, back-to-back holiday weeks. Kind of rough, but we're getting through it. So we'll see you Thursday.